Hey everyone, my name is Bridget and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be me feeding all of my animals. In my previous video, I actually introduced you guys to the animals, so I thought it would be a fun thing to do to show you them in their natural environment and their very ferocious appetites. So I'm going to go around feeding all of my pets and I will explain how I do it, what I feed them, when I feed them, how much I feed them, and all of that together. Now this is actually just going to be me feeding the animals. I am not going to go into too much detail until I do my care videos, but once I do those, I will explain the food more in detail, the supplements in detail, how much to feed in detail, and all of those things. And just as I start to film this, Nugget starts to eat right there. So I hope you guys can't hear that, but if you can, just ignore it. Nugget, you're being very loud. Okay, so the first animals that I'm going to feed are my two cats, Nugget and Chester, and these are the only ones that I actually feed twice a day. And I do have to say that Nugget is on a special diet because she has chronic bladder inflammation. I don't want to get into that right now. As I mentioned in my previous video, I do want to do a special video for her. So there is a video coming on that, but she is on a special diet. So when you hear me talk about bladder inflammation, that is why she has to eat that special food. So anyways, I'm gonna show you what I do for these guys right now. Okay, so here's the setup that I have for Nugget and Chester. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I give them wet food, and they each have access to 1/4 cup of their dry food every single day. So I'll typically leave their dry food for the morning and do their wet food in the evenings. Nugget actually has to be on a special veterinary diet for her bladder inflammation, so our vet prescribed her the Purina Pro Plan veterinary diet urinary STOX. I do half a can on Monday, the other half on Wednesday, half a can on Friday, and the other half on Saturday. For Chester, because he can be kind of a grazer when it comes to his wet food, I will actually only give him half a can of this and mix it in with some of his dry. So we feed him the Purina Beyond grain-free brand. So I will again give him half of this can mixed with his dry food, and I'll give this half on Monday, half on Wednesday, half on Friday, and half on Saturday. This is the brand of dry food that we feed to Nugget. It is a different brand than her wet food, but that's because I have some left over from the last time that she was eating dry food in that brand, and once I run out of those, I'm gonna buy the cans in this brand. She just recently did the food change, so I had some left over, and so I thought I would just use those up because they are quite expensive. But this is the Royal Canin Multifunction Urinary Plus Calm, and this has the urinary benefits, but it also has a calming effect because urinary problems can cause behavioral issues in cats, and so this is helping her out tremendously. Since we put her on the urinary food in the first place, her health has really improved, and ever since we changed her over to the urinary plus the calm, we've seen a major difference in not only her health but also her behavior. She's a very happy cat now. And then I actually don't have a bag to show you of the Purina Beyond grain-free dry food, but that is what we also feed him in dry food. I just keep all of his food in a plastic container that I scoop from. And now here is the setup that I have for the two cats. I keep their extra food in these little containers. Now I know that Chester's food doesn't look like much, but I am going to mix some of his dry in there as well. And again, I know that it doesn't seem like he really gets a lot to eat, but trust me, the boy does not go hungry. All right, so now let's feed the babies.
Nugget, are you ready? Are you ready? Come on, let's go! Hi, Chester! Are you hungry?
Okay, so here's the setup that I have for Chester. I know it's kind of hard to see because I'm out in the barn, but he gets his dry mixed in with his wet, and now I'm gonna feed him. The next animal I'm going to feed is my Leopard Gecko, Twigs. He eats about every 3 to 4 days, and he eats insects only. His diet is pretty varied. He eats anything from dubia roaches, mealworms, superworms, waxworms, hornworms, and silkworms. I always dust his food in either a calcium or multivitamin supplement, and I will go into that further once I do those care videos as well. But I typically feed him anywhere from 8 to 10 bugs at a time, and like I said, every 3 to 4 days. You're not supposed to watch me, you're supposed to eat. Alright, the next animal I'm gonna feed is my bearded dragon, Phoebe. I feed her 6 days a week. I don't feed her on Sundays. I kind of allow Sundays to be like her kind of revamp days, get that digestion going, and so I always skip that day for her. Her diet is also pretty varied, and of course with bearded dragons you want to make sure that most of their diet consists of vegetables instead of proteins. And with Phoebe, she's kind of picky when it comes to her vegetables, so I do about 3 days a week of her greens and 3 days for protein. So it's not like the 70% vegetable, 30% protein like it's supposed to be. She's pretty much 50-50. So her greens and vegetables will usually consist of the dark leafy greens. I never do lettuce for her. I'll do squash, zucchini, bell peppers, things like that, and then the occasional fruit. And then her insects are also very varied. She also does dubias, super worms, wax worms, hornworms, silkworms, and I'll also do butterworms for her. I also always dust her insects with a supplement, whether it's calcium or multivitamin. Again, I will do that in a separate video explaining in detail how that goes. And currently right now, because I mentioned that she is carrying infertile eggs, she's not eating very well. It's not every single day. She's been kind of on and off food. Like she'll take it for a day and then she won't eat again for like 3 or 4 days. And trust me, it is not comfortable. It is terrifying. I hate it, but that's just what she does. And usually in her meals, I will feed her anywhere from 10 to 15 bugs. But like I said, she's been refusing food like crazy right now because she's almost gonna lay any day now. I don't know how many bugs she's gonna eat today. We're just gonna have to see how that goes. The next animal I'm gonna feed is my baby Pacman frog, Button. Because Button is a baby, he's not quite up to juvenile status, I still am feeding him every 2 days. And he is also an insect-only animal. His diet isn't extremely varied right now because he is so little, but he does get crickets, waxworms, and butterworms. I also dust all of his feedings in either a calcium supplement or a multivitamin. Again, I'm gonna do videos on those. And for him, I typically give him anywhere from 3 to 6 bugs, just depending on how many he wants to eat, how big those bugs are, things like that. And last but not least, I'm gonna feed my betta fish, Cozy, and my mystery snail, Carl. For Cozy, I also feed him 6 days a week and give him Sundays off just to make sure that his digestion system is also working properly. And I give him a varied diet of either pellets, brine shrimp, or bloodworms, and so I'll do every couple of days for those. I typically do them in 3s where I'll do pellets, brine shrimp, bloodworms, pellets, brine shrimp, and bloodworms. And then for Carl, because he mostly eats the algae in the tank, I will feed him zucchini every now and then just to make sure he's getting nice and full, and I will offer that to him twice a week. I have offered apple, he didn't take it. I've also offered algae wafers and he did not take it. He seems to really like the zucchini, so I just give him the zucchini. I don't argue with him. And then after 24 hours, I will remove that zucchini because it gets pretty nasty in the water and you don't want that in your tank all the time. So here's me feeding those guys. Alrighty, so now I'm going to feed my little aquatic guys. I have already put some zucchini up here for my little snail guy, but he hasn't touched it yet. He usually doesn't take too terribly long to touch it, so I don't think it'll be too long, but once he's on there, I will record him eating some because he's a very good zucchini eater. Now, I do give Cozy a pretty varied diet, but today I'm just gonna give him pellets, and I will put some clips in of me feeding the bloodworms and the brine shrimp on different days so you can see kind of how that goes. Carl, are you gonna just take a fall here, bud? Oh. Well, Aren't you slick? Okay, I thought you were gonna dive, but you're not. Good job. Okay, so anyway, like I said, I'm gonna do some pellets for him today, and I will show a picture of the pellets that I use because I don't keep them in their package because the packaging is kind of annoying for me. I just keep his pellets here in this little deli cup, so it's easier to pick them out and get them hydrated, so I'm not having to deal with that weird packaging. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this empty deli cup, which I use to feed him, and I'm gonna take my little turkey baster here and just grab a little bit of water and put it in the cup. And then on these days, I typically feed him anywhere from like 6 to 8 pellets because I do feed him once a day instead of twice a day, so that way he'll get his full meal. So I've counted out 7 of them there, and I'm just gonna let them hydrate and get puffy so that they're easier for him to chew, and also so it gives him moisture content. Okay, so I've waited about a good 10 minutes, and as you can see, the pellets are nice and plump. They've about doubled in size. And it's important to do this to your pellets because if you feed the dry pellets to your beta, they're actually going to expand inside the stomach, and that can cause a few issues. They can get extra full, and it can also make them upset to their stomach. It's just not a good idea to give them dry pellets that expand in their stomach. You want to give them pellets that are already expanded. So these are nice and ready, and now I'm going to feed them to Cozy. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for my video today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing me feed all of my animals and watching them eat because they're just so adorable when they eat. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give us a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button on your way out. I really appreciate it. I do have some more serious videos coming up. As I said, I do want to do some story times on the histories of some of my pets, and they're all wonderful of course, but there are some dark moments, and so I just kind of want to share those with you guys and also give a few PSAs while I'm in there. So make sure to keep an eye out for those. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.